the chairperson of this board, and it looks like we have a quorum. I see Tom, I see Frank, and I see, free, her name's not on here. Pamela Gardner. I forgot, I'm sorry, Pam. I know she's our newest member, our consumer member. So do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. You received the minutes of the June 4th meeting of the board. Were there any additions, subtractions, corrections? Okay,
It says the meeting was called to order by Tom Sproles, who was not present. So I would suggest we strike that and say it was called to order by Christopher Cook.
okay. So we have that correction noted.
You don't think I'm that good?
I don't think you're. Any other additions, subtractions, corrections? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve the amended minutes from the June 4th meeting?
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
I second that. I didn't have a chance. Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
I don't know if I wasn't here either.
Now we're going to move into our public rule hearing regarding the LSA document 26-122. And let me pull up my agenda for that. Takes it a minute in here. Okay, we need to have the official reporter designated for this hearing. Please stand to be sworn. Raise your right hand and say your name. Do you solemnly swear that you will keep complete and true notes of all that transpires in this hearing? Prepare a complete transcript thereof from your notes and faithfully perform all the duties imposed upon you as an official reporter under the laws of the state of Indiana. Thank you. This is a public hearing being held by the State Board of Funeral and Cemetery Service on this 6th day of August 2026 pursuant to Indiana Code 4-22-2-24. This hearing is convened in room W064 of the Indiana Government Center South at 402 West Washington Street in Indianapolis, Indiana at or about 11 a.m. local time. By myself, Chris Cook. This hearing is being held in person and via Zoom. Notice of the hearing and full text of the rule were published in the Indiana Register on May 20th, 2026. The purpose of this hearing is to hear public comment regarding LSA document number 26-122. Those who address the board are requested to state their name for the purpose of the record and this hearing. Only those who address their comments to the board will be recognized. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes in length. The board will consider all comments made at this hearing in deciding what action to take on the rule. Upon adoption by the board and approval by the Attorney General and the Governor, the rule will become effective 30 days after filing with the Indiana Register. My name is Chris Cook, and I'll be presiding over this public rule hearing. Did we have any written comments? None? Before I open, I would like to say that no written comments were received during the designated public comment period between May 20th, 2026 and June 19th, 2026. The board will now take comments from the public at this time. You'll be given 3 minutes of floor time. Those that wish to speak should first sign in at the table provided. Did anybody wish to speak to us today on this? I believe I have to ask 3 times per the rule. Okay, that's one. Was anybody here to address us for the LSA document 26-122 hearing? That's number 2. Third and final call for anybody to speak regarding LSA document 26-122. Okay. Seeing no individuals are wishing to make public comment with regard to this proposed rule, I hereby close this public rule hearing. And now we'll open it to the board for discussion. Do I hear a motion?
Actually, I have a question.
Okay, question?
So the law stipulates that the money will go to the funeral service education fund. I don't ever recall us ever having done anything with the funeral service education fund. What actually does it do? How much money is in it? What can it be used for?
The board actually uses that fund to pay for the annual dues for the international conference, so we can get those grades from the intern exams. That's one thing that's what we do normally with it.
Kathleen used it to go to that seminar, didn't she?
No, that was paid.
That was paid, okay.
Yeah. There was, if I remember right, last time we had an update on that, I mean, there was thousands of dollars in there. And I would like to look for ways to use the education fund, funeral service education fund, to educate people in Indiana in funeral service. I don't know what that might be, but that's something I would like this board to review in the upcoming meetings. How we can properly use that as opposed to it just sitting there not being used.
Could you look into that? Could we also get a balance maybe for the next meeting? So we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting and have a discussion about creative ways that we can maybe utilize some of these funds to do more education.
And what appears to be the main change in this is simply the $50
Yeah,
late fee, correct?
correct.
What was it before, 25 or
Believe so.
No,
It
was 50?
yeah, that was 50 for all of our boards across the agency.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Okay. Some of them were 20. It was a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
list.
It's nothing super material here.
Okay.
So I make a motion to approve this.
Got a motion from Tom. Do I hear a second? Pam? Pam seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll adopt the rule and we'll get that off to the other two entities to sign. Okay, we'll move on. Under old and new business, we'll have the Office of the Attorney General's report.
Hi, good morning, members. DIG Ian Matthew, here as usual for licensing enforcement. So the report looks really good. I was just running through this with the team this morning. So at your last meeting, the average age had dropped quite dramatically down to a little over 7 months. Now we're even lower. I really doubt that that number is going to be going much lower than 6 months, because the normal metric that we use is our investigations are going to be between 6 and 12. So we're already towards the lower end on the average age of those files. 62 total open investigations. Just to give the board the idea, I think that's probably between middling to maybe a little higher in terms of what volume across all the boards. So across the entire section, all the regulated professions, I think the last time I saw the numbers between 1,700 and 1,800 active investigations going on. But a good chunk of those can be within the highest volume professions, like the nursing board. Is a couple hundred right off the bat there. So, but 62, like I said, is between middling to being a little higher in terms of total number of files.
So that's out of the 39 boards?
Of the ones that we appear in front of. I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but yeah, total investigations open with licensing enforcement is between 1,700 and 1,800 files. Some of those are certainly duplicative. It can be that, we have people that have the same allegations that they're making against the same providers. I don't know exactly what percentage that would be of, those 1,700, 1,800, but that's generally where we're at right now. And then there's probably a little under 500 live disciplinary cases across all the boards as well, of which this board has 6, and 2 of them are on your agenda today. Some numbers look pretty good. Questions at all about anything?
I do, Mr. Matthews.
Sure.
If I might ask, I don't see crown cremations on our agenda for today, and it was on the agenda last time with the stay for a settlement conference. So can you give us any update on that one?
Yeah, so I have just reached out to IPLA about this either last week or the week before. So we did hold a settlement conference in June. I think it was late June or in July. We did get an active offer out there. Now, my understanding is that the case is very likely not to be settled. There won't be a proposed settlement agreement that's going to be filed. So I've notified IPLA that the matter is ready to be noticed for hearing. So hopefully it'll be on your agenda for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you for the report.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. IPLA Compliance Division report.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks.
Thank you.
So the report here is going from the last board hearing until today's board hearing. Funeral branch inspections, there were two. One was passing, one was out of business. Funeral home inspections were 15. We had 6 passing, 6 out of business, 2 corrective action plans, and 1 fail. I've got some additional language here about a new system that we've been piloting. So we've been doing, since we have had inspections via on the computer and not paper inspections, we've used a system called IMLO. Now we are trying to switch to some new technology called Evoke, and the rest of the inspectors compliance officer are just now learning that. I've been piloting it for a few months, but when doing this report yesterday, I realized I don't know how to pull those numbers from that system. So I immediately emailed IT so I can understand how to combine these numbers, because we're going to be operating 2 systems for a while until we make a complete switch over. So I think our numbers should be around about 20 for total, because I know I did 3 inspections showing another inspector how to use Evoke. So those numbers did not show up. So I'm going to guess it's probably about 20 since the last board hearing. And then the violations that we've seen that would show for the failure and for the corrective action plan, where there were embalming room issues, sanitation, display of licensure, a funeral home had an expired certificate of authority. That accounts for 2 of those violations, actually no, 3 of those violations there, and then improper sterilization of instruments, and then 1 funeral home at the time of the first inspection did not have any hot and cold running water in the prep room.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Adjusting the microphones for the people listening. Do we need to test it? Okay. Next up, we'll move on to our first administrative hearing. Number 1 is for Zalo Wilson Jr., FD 088000062. Pull up my notes for that one. We'll get it moving. Okay, this is an administrative hearing taking place on August 6, 2026, in room W064 of the Indiana Government Center Building, 402 West Washington Street in Indianapolis, Indiana, at 11:16 a.m. local time. It is being conducted pursuant to the laws of the state of Indiana as found in Indiana Code Title IV, Article 21.5, before members of the State Board of Funeral and Cemetery Service in a cause docketed as administrative cause number 2026-06-FCB-0016. The respondent's name is Zalo Wilson Jr. The notice of time and place of this hearing was served to the parties required by law on July 9th, 2026. The purpose of this hearing is a final hearing. This is the final hearing on the state's complaint, which was filed on June 22nd, 2026. The reporter's already been sworn. My name is Chris Cook, and I'm serving as the hearing officer for this board. The following members of the board are sitting with me in this hearing. We got Frank Downing, Tom Sproils, and Pamela Gardner. At this time, I request that any board member who feels that he or she cannot give this respondent a fair hearing and render an impartial decision to remove him or herself from this hearing. Seeing none, may we have appearance of counsel, please?
DAG Ian Matthew for the state.
Okay, and nobody for the other side? So go ahead and proceed.
Thank you. So as you said, case was filed in late June. We have an administrative complaint that has, I think it's 4 different charges here against Mr. Wilson's license. So his license was previously suspended by the board in 2023, so his license is still in suspended status. The hearing notice for this matter was issued by the board on July 9th, using the information on file for him and his licensing record. I've not received any notice or anything regarding the failure to appear today, so I'll ask that the board issue a notice of proposed default and then take up the matter at its next meeting.
Okay. So we'll go ahead then and I guess close the hearing. And let me get to the bottom of that. So these proceedings, according to notice, are hereby concluded. This cause is therefore adjourned until further order. Board members?
I make a motion to do as Mr. Matthews asked. My mic is on. I think the whole system is turned down very low. I mean, I'm having a hard time hearing Ian. So yeah, my mic is on. I can just get it a little closer here. So make a proposal to issue a proposed default or make a amendment.
Got a
Motion.
motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion, and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you, members.
Thank you.
We pull up the next one for number 2, Griner Funeral Home, FH 109000011, and Gary G. Griner, FD 091000013. It's taking my computer a minute. There were 2 in there. That's why I wanted,
Mhm.
there were 2 scripts, and I just want to make sure I say the right one. Because this is the summary suspension hearing.
Summary suspension hearing will be even necessary.
Yeah.
If the summary suspension is about to lapse, then the summary suspension will cover the intervening period between now and whenever the board issues the final order, because it would be effective immediately.
So you use that script then. Okay. So this is an administrative hearing taking place on August 6, 2026 in room W064 of the Indiana Government Center Building, 402 West Washington Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, at 11:21 a.m. local time. It is being conducted pursuant to the laws of the state of Indiana as found in Indiana Code Title IV, Article 21.5, before members of the State Board of Funeral and Cemetery Service in a cause docketed as administrative cause number 202603-FCB-0012. The respondent's name is Gary G. Griner and Griner Funeral Home. Notice the time and place of this hearing was served as provided by law on July 23rd, 2026. Notice was also given to the Office of the Attorney General of the State of Indiana. This is a hearing to determine whether respondent's summary suspension should be extended. We've already given the reporter, or the oath to the reporter. My name is Chris Cook, and I'm serving as hearing officer for this board. The following members of this board are sitting with me on this hearing: Thomas Sproils, Frank Downing, and Pamela Gardner. At this time, I request that any board member who believes that he or she cannot give this respondent a fair hearing and render an impartial decision to remove him or herself from this hearing. Seeing none, may we have appearances of counsel, please?
DAG Ian Matthew for the state.
Okay. Seeing none, would all those who know themselves to be a witness or witnesses in this cause please stand? Seeing none, we're going to move on. The parties in this matter are hereby notified that this board will take official judicial notice of its file and record in this matter. Please proceed.
Thank you. So members, the first summary suspension extension was issued in this matter at your last meeting on June 4th. So that was to cover a 90-day period. The actual order for that was issued on July 23rd, and that advised the respondents that an extension hearing would be held today. So there's no additional evidence to present beyond what was originally presented to the board at the original initiation of the summary suspension proceedings. So at this point, I'm just asking the board to issue a second extension of the summary suspension. That'll cover the period between today and whenever the final order is issued in this matter.
Okay. Then these proceedings, according to notice, are hereby concluded. This cause is therefore adjourned until further order. Board members, open floor.
Would make a motion to extend the summary suspension.
I have a motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll continue on. Move on to the next item on the agenda. Item number 3, Michael Gillard, FD 21. Oh, sorry, my fault. Yeah, I forgot. That's why there were 2 in there. Put the brakes on and go back. So this is the notice of proposed default, correct? Yeah. Okay. This hearing is opened and the petitioner is called audibly 3 times. If neither the petitioner nor counsel for the petitioner answers, then the Attorney General or a board member may move to issue a notice to propose default order. Any findings and sanctions decided upon must be included in the written notice of proposed default order. Once the notice of proposed default order is issued, the petitioner has 7 days upon receipt of the order to make a written request stating the reasons why a default order should not be issued. If no reply is made within a 7-day period of the dismissal order, will be issued, and sanctions, if any, will take effect immediately. This administrative hearing is taking place on August 6, 2026 in room W064 of the Indiana Government Center building, 402 West Washington Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, at 11:25 a.m. local time. It is being conducted pursuant to the laws of the state of Indiana as found in Indiana Code Title IV, Article 21.5, before members of the State Board of Funeral and Cemetery Service in a cause docketed as administrative cause number 2026-03-FCB-0012. The petitioner's name is Gary G. Griner and Griner Funeral Home. A notice to propose default order was issued in this matter filed on July 23rd, 2026. Notice was also given to the Office of the Attorney General. A response to the notice of proposed default order was not received from the petitioner. The purpose of this hearing is to conduct any further proceedings necessary in order to conclude this matter. The reporter's already been sworn. My name is Chris Cook, and I'm serving as hearing officer for this board. The following members of the board are sitting with me on this hearing: Thomas Sproils, Frank Downing, and Pamela Gardner. Should any board member who cannot give this petitioner a fair hearing and render an impartial decision, please remove him or herself from this hearing. Seeing none, may we have appearance of counsel, please?
DAG Ian Matthew for the state.
Okay. Don't have anybody else?
We will have a witness to swear.
Okay. Will all those who know themselves to be witness or witnesses be sworn? You stand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Be seated. The parties in this matter are hereby notified that the board will take official judicial notice of its file and record in this matter. Please proceed.
Thank you. So as you said, the matter was taken up at the board's last meeting in June. A notice of proposed default was issued towards the end of July. No response was received. So before we get into our case, I'll ask the board to find the respondents in default, and we'll go from there.
I would move that we find the respondent in default.
Support.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you, members.
Okay.
So we're here today seeking final discipline and sanction of the funeral home license of Griner Funeral Home and the funeral director license of Gary Griner. The conduct at issue here is familiar to the board from the summary suspension proceedings that have taken place. So the conduct came to light in the community after there was some civil action regarding foreclosure on the funeral home property. And then members of the community started calling in, inquiring about the status of their pre-need accounts because they were concerned that the property was about to be foreclosed on. That led IPLA to do an inspection of the facility. They found, among other things, they found many cremains being stored at the facilities, outdated licenses were being posted, and they found incomplete records on a pre-need file. Subsequent to that, we discovered that that was not the only file, in fact, that had not been properly trusted. So the facility compiled a list of 142 files that were not funded. The total amount of those files is just a little north of $550,000. Those are for pre-need arrangements that were made going as far back to 2009, I think is the earliest date that appears on that list. So based on that, we have charged 18 counts within our administrative complaint. So that's fraud or material deception, professional incompetence, failure to keep abreast, failure to deposit funds in 30 days. A couple of charges in there from the inspection as well, displaying expired credentials. The manager at one point did not have an active license because there was a hold on his, there was a tax hold on his license. Retaining the cremains beyond 60 days, failure to notify the board about the fact that it was unable to fulfill its obligations under the pre-need contracts. Then there are 8 counts for assisting the above charges against Mr. Griner's license, and then a professional incompetence charge on him, as well as a fraud or material deception on him as well. So we'll go ahead and present the evidence that we have to give, and then I'll make a sanction recommendation at the end. If it's okay, we'll go ahead and
Yep,
proceed into testimony.
Proceed, sir.
Thank you. So the state will call Delaney Walter. Ms. Walter, if you would state and spell your name for the record. We're going to share a microphone here.
Delaney Walter, Delaney, Walter, Walter.
And Ms. Walter, where are you employed?
Office of the Indiana Attorney General.
And what is your position there?
I'm an investigator.
All right. And can you give the board an idea of your regular duties as an investigator?
I investigate consumer complaints against licensed and unlicensed professionals.
All right. And did you serve as the investigator for this particular case?
Yes, I did.
All right. And have you reviewed the investigative records that were compiled during the course of the investigation?
Yes, I have.
All right. So how did the respondent's conduct come to your office's attention?
Our office received consumer complaints from citizens as well as IPLA. In addition, we were contacted by the Vigo County Coroner's Office, who notified us that they were in possession of 4 decedents from Griner Funeral Home.
All right. I'm going to show you one of these documents. This is Exhibit 1. Can you identify this for us?
Yes, this is a consumer complaint filed with our office.
All right. And which facility is it filed against?
Griner Funeral Home.
And as far as you're aware, is this a true and accurate copy of the consumer complaint?
That is correct.
All right. I'll move to admit Exhibit 1.
Proceed.
All right. Ms. Walter, tell us what allegations were made here.
It was alleged that on January 21st of 2026, IPLA arrived for an inspection in which they met with the funeral director, Jennifer Gumry. During that time frame, they found 79 cremated remains. The earliest or oldest were dated back to 2013. They found that Gary Griner's license was expired in 2024. That's pretty much.
And were you able to get any other records connected with the inspection?
Yes.
I'm going to show you here Exhibit 2. Can you identify this for us?
This is an inspection report conducted by IPLA.
All right. And this is for the respondent facility?
That is correct.
All right. And as far as you're aware, is this a true and accurate copy of that inspection report?
That is correct.
All right. I'll move to admit Exhibit 2.
Proceed.
All right. So Ms. Walter, just give us an idea of what was discovered in the course of the investigation.
The licensure that was physically displayed at the funeral home were all expired. After further review, they determined that the only one that actually was expired was Gary Griner's. However, they did not properly have the correct active ones up, such as the other funeral director as well as the funeral home in itself. There were discrepancies within the pricing of caskets in the showroom compared to the general price list, and the cremated remains of the 79 cremated remains that were there.
And I believe they reviewed a pre-need file in here. Can you tell us anything about the pre-need file that was noted?
Yes.
Free to reference the Exhibit 1 as well. It's in there.
Without giving, I guess, confidential information, what, can you expand on that?
Yeah. So, give me one second.
Are you referring to like the no proof? There was no proof
Yes.
that, okay, I'm sorry. They reviewed one of the pre-need files and found that there was no proof of payment to the actual insurance company, even though the family had made the payment and it was supposed to go to the insurance company.
Let's see. And can you tell us what was the result of the inspection?
It was a fail.
And in the course of your investigation, were you able to find any other evidence of other unfunded files other than the one that was noted in the inspection?
Yes.
Can you give the board an idea of how many other files were not funded?
142.
All right. And what's the total dollar amount involved?
Approximately 552,000.
And can you give the board an idea of how you know about those files?
Griner Funeral Home's attorney, provided us with those files.
Okay. And so I'm going to show you here State's Exhibit 3. Can you identify this for us?
Yes, this is the list of the unfunded pre-need contracts.
All right. I see there's a couple of other, there's 10 pages here. There's a couple of other lists on the end. Can you tell the board what those are as well?
Yes, one is the satisfied contracts that were inadvertently placed on the list, as well as the ones that were arranged pre-need contracts that were not prepaid.
And then some of them were refunded.
That is
that right?
correct, yes.
Okay. As far as you're aware, is this a true and accurate copy of the lists that were compiled by the respondents?
Yes.
All right, so I'll move to admit Exhibit 3.
Proceed.
So let's look at the primary unfunded list. Can you tell the board what's the oldest file by date in here?
November of 2009.
And they proceed all the way through 2025, is that correct?
That is correct, December of 2025.
And are you aware of any of the 142 respondents having been refunded any monies?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Is it possible that some of them have been refunded?
Yes.
Okay. And are you aware of any civil lawsuits pending involving the respondents based on the conduct at issue in this case?
I am not.
All right. And are you aware of any criminal charges having been filed against Mr. Griner personally based on this conduct?
I am not.
Okay, I don't have any other questions, members?
I have several questions that I would like to ask, even though you may not be able to answer them. One would be the segue that you just said. Are you aware of any criminal charges being filed against the respondent? And my question is, since this has went on since January the 21st, and here we are in the 1st of August, and it perhaps is to the Vigo County prosecutor, this is what will turn out to be the largest pre-need theft case ever in the state of Indiana. Why are there no charges filed? Why has Mr. Griner not been arrested? And why is he not in jail? And why have no charges been filed by the Vigo County prosecutor to date? Do you have any understanding of that?
Can answer it to the extent that you can.
From what I can say is I do know that they are in possession of the records that we provided them. We turned over, as well as IPLA. We worked with them, mainly Ms. Calvert worked with the detectives and everything to turn everything over. So they are in possession of everything to our understanding that they need. And that's as much as I could say.
Thank you. Thank you. Another question is this on the referenced pre-need contract that was reviewed on the inspection in January. Can you tell me who that pre-need contract was written by? Was it Mr. Griner or was it someone else?
To my understanding, based on, I don't know.
It's included here.
Okay. It was Jennifer Gamir, the funeral director.
Jennifer Ann Gunmere,
That is
a
correct.
funeral director who is currently practicing funeral service.
That is correct.
So my question is, why is she currently practicing funeral service? Why has her license not been suspended? Why have we not seen an investigation into what she has done when we have clear evidence of a violation of the law?
Yeah. So I don't think she's gonna be able to speak to any conduct that's not charged in the complaint.
I just wanted to make sure that question was on the record.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I thought you had another one. No, I couldn't.
I do have more, but I'm going to pass at this point. We'll ask them later.
Okay, then please move
We're
forward.
prepared to proceed to
Yep,
closing.
Yep.
So the evidence is clear here, members. So my recommendation is that both licenses should be revoked. The administrative complaint has 18 counts in it. So I can walk through those briefly. Count 1 is against the funeral home. That's for fraud and material deception in the course of professional services. That is for intentionally and wrongfully retaining consumer funds required to be deposited in a trust or escrow for pre-need funeral goods and services. Count 2, professional incompetence. That's against the facility, evidenced by its failure to properly deposit pre-need consumer funds, failure to remit cremated remains, failure to operate with a managing director holding an active funeral director license. That was discovered in the course of the investigation, the IPLA inspection, by having continued to enter into contracts with consumers for pre-need goods and services after its certificate of authority had expired. Count 3, that's failure to keep abreast, for failing to keep abreast of current professional theory and practice regarding the deposit of payments for pre-need funeral arrangements. Counts 4 to 8 are violations of state statutes or rules regulating the profession. So that is for 832 IAC 724 for failing to deposit cash or other property received for pre-need services and merchandise within 30 days of execution of the pre-need contract. IC 25158-1.5, displaying expired credentials. That was discovered in the course of the IPLA inspection. Count 6, operating a funeral home without a manager holding an active funeral director license. So Mr. Grinder's license had that tax hold on it, so it was expired when he was the managing director. Then we've got IC 23143145B. That's for retaining the cremated remains for longer than 60 days from the date of the cremation, also discovered in the inspection. And then IC 321315A, failing to give notice to the board and to each purchaser after its certificate of authority expired and after it ceased to operate. That's basically the winding down procedure that a facility has to go through whenever its certificate either expires or the facility goes out of business. Counts 9 to 16, so that's 8 violations against Mr. Grinder's license for assisting the counts 1 through 8. He was the owner and managing director of this facility at the time that the violations were committed. Count 17 is a professional incompetence charge, a standalone charge against Mr. Grinder's license, in that he continued to practice despite becoming unfit to practice due to professional incompetence. His incompetence is evidenced by his failure to properly deposit the consumer pre-need funds, his failure to manage respondent facility in compliance with statutes and laws regulating the profession, and his continued management of the facility after his personal license had expired. And finally, count 18 is fraud and material deception against Mr. Grinder's license as well. That's for intentionally and wrongfully retaining consumer funds required to be deposited in a trust or escrow for pre-need funeral goods and services. So I'll ask that you find the respondents in violation on all 18 counts as alleged. This was a widespread pre-need fraud scheme that extended over a number of years. As Mr. Sproul said, it's going to be the largest pre-need fraud case that the board has seen. So the only proper discipline here is revocation. The case is a little unique as we got into with Ms. Malter's testimony, in that right now, as far as we're aware, there's no pending civil cases against the respondents based on the conduct, and there are currently no pending criminal charges against Mr. Greiner. So the most recent cases that the board has seen involving pre-need fraud, there have been parallel criminal cases that provide for victim restitution as part of any sentence. That was involving Joshua Silvers and Adrian McCoy. Both of those had pending criminal charges at the time their administrative cases were pending here with you. And obviously, Mr. Wilson's case is also involves charges that have already been filed against him. So this, because it's still the issue of the restitution is an open question at this point, I think. I would like to ask the board to issue a restitution order together with the revocations. So Indiana Code 25-1-11-12 provides that the board can order a practitioner to pay consumer restitution to a person who suffered damages as a result of the conduct or omission that was the basis for the disciplinary sanction. Um, so it's restitution. Basically, it means if you paid something to them, you get the value of that back. You don't get compensatory damages or anything like that that may have resulted from the actual misconduct. But based on the records that we presented, it's indisputable that 142 consumers paid monies that were not properly trusted and suffered damages thereby. So that list was put together by the facility. There may be other accounts out there that we're not aware of that weren't properly trusted, but we do at least have a clear list of the affected consumers and associated dollar amounts for each one of those. So I'd like to ask the board to order the respondents to be jointly liable for restitution to the 142 consumers, less any that have already been refunded, and less any that the board has already paid out from the restitution fund for. I'll also ask the board to include an express authorization for the Attorney General's office to initiate a civil action to attempt to collect on the restitution. For any money that we can't collect, certainly the consumers or the successor providers can file with the board to receive monies from the Pre-Need Consumer Protection Fund. There's a couple of those on your agenda for today already. The board did have possession of all the pre-need files. I think they were reassigned at your last meeting. I think the board does still have a list of some kind of those files or the files that were processed in the course of the reassignment. So because we're online here and because there may be people watching at home, you know, those people can contact the board if they have a concern. Were there of those 142 accounts, are they on that list? And that they may be entitled to restitution payments. Any consumers can file complaints with our office as well if they haven't done so already, and they'll be notified of the action that takes place here in the course of that as well. So I'm asking you to revoke the licenses, issue a restitution order, and then authorize our office to attempt to collect any restitution that there is to be collected. Thank you.
Thank you. The board will make all deliberations and voting on the record on this one. So I'll open the floor.
I have a question about the restitution.
Okay.
So if the consumer receives that restitution, then their pre-need contract is just void and they start over with another provider? Or does that restitution go to the Consumer Protection Fund to cover what it ends up paying out so that the rest of the funeral homes in the state aren't bearing that burden?
From the way, my understanding of the statute is that it would be, the respondents would be ordered to pay the restitution, very likely into an escrow fund that would then be assigned to the 142 consumers. If in the intervening period, if they've already refunded any of them, then those wouldn't be included in the 142. If the board has already paid restitution to the subsequent provider as a part of the pre-need restitution fund, then those wouldn't be included either. Because there would be a double collection there if that were the case. So I don't know whether the board has issued, I'm certain that the board has never issued a restitution order for, you know, $550,000 before. But I don't know if the board has ever issued one in the past that was larger, that would have required, you know, basically some kind of management or escrow account. So it's hard for me to say. And I'd have to look at the statutes regarding the pre-need protection fund if there is a provision in there that the original providers have to pay into the fund any value that the board pays out from that. I'm not sure. So it could be different ways there. I can't answer that question at this time, basically.
Any other questions? So it's just the dollar amount, no statutory interest or anything, correct?
In terms of restitution, I think it's the value of what the consumer is paid. They may have been entitled to appreciation over time, but I think, and it, and the members may know this from the paying out of from the restitution fund. The restitution fund is just limited to the value of the contracted amount. Is that correct?
Plus statutory interest.
There is interest
Mhm,
included.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with including it in the order, and if we can get it, then I think it should be collected because that is the value that the consumers would have been entitled to as payment on the contract at the end of the day if it was satisfied as it would have been normally.
Because I was just thinking with some of these going back to what, 2009?
Right.
There's some interest there. Low, but I mean, it's every penny adds up.
Yes,
If, the-
yes.
if the board acts before any pending criminal charges are filed, is there any impediment on that process by us doing so?
I don't think there's any impediment. I mean, they wouldn't be subjected to conflicting judgments. So let's just say there is a prosecution, the prosecution results in the defendant being ordered to pay victim restitution as a part of that. I mean, they don't have to pay twice, but the court would likely have to sort out if there was a judgment in place at that time, whether do they have to pay on that judgment or are they paying it as part of their criminal sentencing. But from what I'm aware of, like I said, the board hasn't done this in the past, so it's hard for me to say. But the victims are entitled to the restitution, whether it comes from this judgment or whether it comes through the criminal process. I think that process is not impeded by what the board's going to do here. And let's just say there was a criminal prosecution. I mean, we would still have to take a civil action in order to enforce the restitution order. So if a criminal action is filed as part of that, we may hold fire on that. We would have the option to hold fire there. We would have an option to ask the court, to stay the proceedings in order to allow the underlying criminal case to play out if restitution was going to be a part of that.
And then another question I have was the funeral director whose signature was on some of those contracts. Can we include a complaint, file a complaint against her as part of our?
Board can file a complaint against anybody. Yep.
Can we also require an inspection of wherever she's at now? Because I would say not just complaint, but we would need to send an immediate, as soon as we could, inspection of whatever facility she's currently at.
I don't think there's any impediment.
Yeah.
All good, all good.
So we've had our questions. Pam, do you have anything?
Not at this time.
Okay. Last
Pam,
call.
is it coincidental that you joined right when we have our largest case in the history of? Now, we're glad you're.
No, but it's been very educational.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can do that after we close this. We set that to the agenda then. Okay, then, do I hear a motion then, I guess we'll make? Or I need to close out these proceedings according to notice? Oh, wait. Yeah, or hereby adjourned until further order of the board. Now,
Yeah, I'll be glad to make the motion. I have no idea how to word it except to say what he said. I fully, everything that he suggested, I fully support and would make that in the motion, the revocation of license, the restitution, including statutory interest, and everything that he.
Civil action, like restitution.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know if in the same motion, we want a complaint filed against the other director that's involved. But we'd like a formal complaint filed against her and an investigation along with a inspection of her current employment. And anything else that is deemed necessary, but I would word it like Mr. Matthews stated it.
Okay. So we got a motion,
Second.
got a motion, a second. Um, Any discussion? I just want to say, I think the immediate, like, looking at the other funeral director, I've been always told that we're on this board to protect consumers of death care in the
Yes.
state of Indiana.
Yes, we
And
are.
if we don't tack that on this,
Mhm.
we are not protecting consumers in the state of Indiana. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, this is a big, big win to get some of that money back, but we have to also go after that other person just to
Mm.
do our due diligence. And there could be other ones floating out there, and this will use every means we have to ensure, a check on that.
Mhm.
So, that's my discussion. Any others? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay,
Thank you, members.
thank you.
Can I ask a question that has just popped into my
Yeah.
mind here? And I don't know if we can answer it now, but generally, when you see this level of fraud and deception and theft, it's shot full throughout the business and personal life and all of that. But in specifically this funeral home, I'm concerned about Medicaid fraud. If there has been Medicaid fraud in this case, which is, I would be willing to bet money that there has been. Who could you refer this to investigate that? I don't want to see anything not be investigated that should be. But generally in cases like this, if you'll go back through the at-need contracts where Medicaid's been involved, you will find Medicaid fraud. And I would like whoever whether it's Medicaid, if they have an investigative arm or whoever, I would like to suggest they go review the files. If there's cremated remains setting around, chances are they've been paid to bury those somewhere in Medicaid cases, and it's not happened. So I would like whoever the appropriate agency is to parallel investigate this. And I'm sure that the police department and whoever's doing it are doing the best they can, but they don't know a lot of what to look for in cases like this.
Yeah, I know. So our office, if it comes up in the course of a case, I mean, we can
Mhm.
include charges for Medicaid fraud. We have
Mhm.
done so in the past. Our office does have a whole section that handles Medicaid fraud
Okay.
control unit. That's mostly in the medical professions
Uh-huh.
for health providers that are applying for Medicaid.
Sure.
So I can check with the leadership and see if we can get back to the board about whether you could file a parallel complaint basically to get it over to Medicaid fraud control. Certainly, you are right that Medicaid fraud is usually a criminal offense as well.
Yeah.
So if they are investigating the extent of the files, and there is Medicaid fraud, then I think they could investigate that as well.
I
Thank
think
you.
I would also add to it trustee burials,
Mhm.
because, that's a small part of it too. When you got the Medicaid burials, you would also have the trustee's office,
Mhm.
Usually overlap. Yeah.
and they would need to look into that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring down the full weight of the
Mhm.
dog and pony show on them.
Yeah.
Okay, moving forward. Next up is Michael Gillard, FD 21100005. Michael Gillard, FD 21100005. Michael Gillard, FD 21100005. Okay, this administrative hearing taking place on August 6, 2026 in room W064 of the Indiana Government Center, Building 402 West Washington Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, at 12 noon local time, is being conducted pursuant to the laws of the state of Indiana as found in Indiana Code Title 4, Article 21.5, before members of the State Board of Funeral and Cemetery Service in a cause docketed as administrative cause number 202603-FCB-0006. The petitioner's name is Michael Gillard. A notice of proposed dismissal order was issued in this matter and filed on July 24, 2026. A response to the notice of proposed dismissal order was not received from the petitioner. The purpose of this hearing is to conduct any further proceedings necessary in order to conclude this matter. The reporter's already been sworn. My name is Chris Cook, and I'm serving as the hearing officer for this board. The following members of the board are sitting with me on this hearing: Thomas Broyles, Frank Downing, and Pamela Gardner. At this time, I'll request that any board member who believes that he or she cannot give this petitioner a fair hearing and render an impartial decision to remove him or herself from this hearing. Seeing none, we do not have counsel on this one. I guess consider,
Do here is just dismiss his appeal.
okay.
Response. So I have to pay that fine. He did just email Tracy Hicks just now. What I heard.
Oh, really?
It's a little late.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess we'll finish the hearing then, and the parties in this matter are hereby notified that the board will take official judicial notice of its file in this matter. Seeing none, I guess close it and move to dismiss, right? These proceedings, according to notice, are hereby adjourned until further notice of the board. Board, do I hear a motion?
Well, first of all, it continues to blow my mind how people who are seemingly concerned about their license and they actually file a motion to review and then they don't show up. I'm bewildered by that. It happens over and over again. And I guess they just think maybe a letter, but they file a petition, for the board to review it and then they don't show up. It just blows my mind. But so based on these months here of going through this and then not showing up, I would make a motion to dismiss his petition.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion amongst the board? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next up, personal appearance and consideration of application for funeral home / branch license and certificate of authority. Number 1, Rawls Mortuary Funeral Home, application number 4411644. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Rawls. I'll open it up to the board to ask questions.
Give us a minute here to pull up
Your mic's on, correct? Yeah,
Now it is.
okay.
No, it is.
Yeah, we can hear you now. The board catch up.
So maybe walk us through, you had your facility, which we are aware of before, and then you've shut that down and moved, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, tell us, where you moving to? Where were you?
3913 North Keystone Avenue, and we moved to 3447 North College, which used to be Craig and Glazebrook's funeral home currently, well,
Oh.
previously.
Okay. Okay.
Am I correct in understanding that both you personally and your mortuary have been on probation since 2023?
Correct.
And as a part of that, you were ordered to provide the board quarterly reports?
I believe so.
Have you provided those quarterly reports?
I saved them, so I was going to submit them, because doing this move, we stopped. But I saved them so to submit them because we come up on New Year, so I was going to save them and just submit everything at once.
So for that was issued in 24, so we haven't seen anything since 24 to 25 or 25 to 26. We're now at 2 years. So the board is owed 8 sets of quarterly reports that were not submitted on time.
If that's what it says, yes.
So were you of the impression that that was optional?
They didn't say it wasn't.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's,
When we did when we did that hearing, they actually, it was, our probation was going to end. I remember that, and then they renewed it, and then I believe that's when they put that on. So I didn't submit them. That's totally me. But like I said, I was going to submit them, eventually put them in, because I think it was like in October or something like that. I don't, it's been a minute.
So I guess where I'm at the moment, what I'm trying to understand is the board issued you an edict. You were required to submit to us quarterly reports so that we could understand if the conduct that put you on probation in the first place was corrected. And you chose to ignore our request, which is a very nice way of saying edict. So you have ignored that for 2 years, and now you're sitting before us and asking us to forget the fact that you've not done what we told you to do and grant you a new license. Am I missing something there?
Technically, no, but I have access to give you what you need. It's not a problem, but if I need a minute to get it, I can submit it over. So I apologize, not trying to necessarily ignore it, but I thought I had a moment. So nothing came through as far as reminders or anything like that that I know of. But I've been doing everything I was supposed to do, but you just don't have the record of that. So I can apologize truly and sincerely for that, but that's, not trying to make an excuse, but yeah.
so Mr. Rawls, if you're forgetting that, what else are you forgetting in the operation of a business, caring for consumers? And if you don't understand the importance of that, what else do you not understand the importance of? Very, very concerning. You're all, you've already been before us several times down through the years. And, there's so many strikes before you're out. And, your license is already on probation, and yet you've not fulfilled the requirements that we set forth. Maybe it's time just to put an end to that. It's really hard to ask for us to grant you a license when you haven't fulfilled some of the basic things that we've asked for. We have we could table it and kick the can down the road, another board meeting, and see what we get. Or just,
I think that would have to be done. I mean, our deliberation will have to be done after we've concluded the hearing, I assume, or do we deliberate? This is.
what is in the hearing?
It's in the
This
hearing,
is
so
not-
we can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk
yeah,
openly. I mean,
yeah.
he says he's got the report. I'd be willing to.
I'm really struggling.
Yeah, me
I have to be honest with you, Mr. Rawls. I'm really struggling with interpreting your lack of response to our and now I'm going to use the word, to our mandate. I mean, you told us in essence that you don't care. I can't interpret this any other way than you telling us that you don't care what it was that we outlined for you to do to continue to practice. You ignored that edict. And now here, 2 years later, you're asking us just to forget that and move on. And I I do not like taking away anyone's livelihood. I don't like that. That bothers me immensely. But I do not see where you have exhibited any respect for this board or for the laws of the state of Indiana that govern funeral service.
I would add to that, that your probation was July the 24th, 2025, 1 year probation. You could have already been off of probation. And yet here we are 2 years later and you're still on probation. I guess is not a concern to you to be on probation.
If I may, I wouldn't say it's not a concern. Honestly, like I said, I was going to submit at the end of the year. I thought I had more time. Things has transpired through this process. Again, not making excuses. We've done what we're supposed to do in funeral services, or following the board, minus some of the records. Again, truly apologize, but we have not got any more complaints. As far as I know, doing what we're supposed to do, staying in compliance. We passed our inspections, and doing the process. It really just, I'm not gonna say a lack of concern, just me just, hey, not paying attention to it and just thinking I have more time. We have the records, everything has been in place. I just didn't do it. I wanted to sit there and lie, but I just didn't take care of that part of the business. But as far as what I'm supposed to do and doing I have been doing everything constructed of staying out of trouble, because that's the main thing, not getting any more complaints and things like that. So I can submit it, the records, go back and get them. Not necessarily a problem, but just a little grace. But we've done what we're supposed to do, even through this process of trying to move. So we're not in compliance with just that part right there. Like I said,
Yeah, I'm reading from your probation order directly, and it says, for the duration of probation, respondents shall submit quarterly reports to the board. And then it goes on to outline everything that is supposed to be provided in those quarterly reports. And I'm having great difficulty understanding how you could just pile up quarterly reports and then think you're going to submit them 2 years later.
Is there any other questions or motion?
Our next meeting is October 1st, 2026.
I lean on the funeral directors.
Yeah.
I don't know how he could have possibly misunderstood the edicts. I see it as just a refusal to do what he's been told to do. And it makes me question everything about allowing the business to continue. I'm not saying I'm not made up my mind on to what I think it needs to go. And I'm willing to listen to opposing views from the board, but I'm really struggling on this one.
Yeah, my view is this, and we've watched it down through the years. We have people like in the case of Griner who just willfully break the law and steal money and just willfully break the law, and then we have those who are maybe the term is lackadaisical about the law, and they just don't. But unfortunately, kind of the end result is the same. They end up both not being able to practice funeral service. They just get there through different ways. And what I feel like, and I've felt this about, Mr. Rawls several times down through the years is there's just a super laid back nature, which is very concerning as a board member because you know what, I'd be willing to bet, a crisp $100 bill right now if you're lackadaisical in this area. What I've seen down through the years, you don't have a person that's lackadaisical in this area and they're all focused on doing things right in this area. It just doesn't coexist. You're laid back in this area, then you're going to be laid back on a few other things in this area and laid back across the board. And you find a person who is detail oriented over here, their sock drawer at home will be orderly. And quite frankly, that's who we want in funeral service, the people whose sock drawer is orderly and their underwear drawer is orderly at the home, because I know everything else in the business will be done orderly. And when you don't have that here, oh, no big deal. You didn't tell me I couldn't do it, but this kind of stuff. Then I know it's going to be that way all through. Yeah, you might have had an inspection. You might have had everything together to get a past inspection because you can focus on that and say, I got to get over this. What I got to get done. But what about the licenses being renewed? What about all of the myriad things that have to be done to keep up your license? Things go downhill real quick. So I don't sit here with any confidence whatsoever if we issue your license that you're not going to be back before the board, whether it's through a consumer complaint or through an IPLA inspection 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now. I would suggest that if we gave you your license today, that a year from now, your license will still be on probation. You're just not going to get around to getting it taken off because you can still practice as a funeral director. And so I don't sit here with any confidence that us issuing him a license, and yet I sit here with the understanding, and I've done this 12 years now, that this is, can I say, life and death? Pardon the pun, this is life and death for a career, for a financial income. I don't understand how lackadaisical we can be do you have children? You got children. You got people depending on you. This is your livelihood. And you waltz in here in front of the board who has the control of your future in their hands. Hey, sorry I didn't get those reports you asked for 2 years ago in. No big deal. And so what happens, they start stacking on one another. The complaint March the 12th, 24, and the complaint back on August the 23rd, 23. And they just start stacking, and we give grace and we give grace. I know on one of those, I'm the only reason that you kept your license. Remember that day when I recognized a case of tissue gas?
Yes.
Only because you had pictures. I came in the board meeting that day saying, you'll walk out of here without your license. In my mind, looking through all the evidence. And yet there were pictures there where I'm the only one on the board that recognized the problem that you had that day embalming that body. And I gave you grace. And somewhere along the line, the grace has to stop and the work has to be done. So you put us in a very, very tough situation here.
I cannot vote to grant a license when the basic requirements of a probationary order have not been met.
I think that's a good way to say it.
So now then that our options would be either to deny or table.
Or you could approve it, or yeah, if you want to continue it, is that okay with you, Tracy, if they continue this until the next hearing? Or would you rather have it decision.
Well, they need to determine what they're looking for, satisfied at the next meeting versus this.
How hard is it for him to apply again? Is that like days?
Filing an application.
Or could deny it, then request that he get probation in order, and then he can repetition.
Okay. I would move that we deny this funeral home license.
Anything else to add to it, or just,
Do I have to say that, I mean, to reapply, I mean, obviously, I think you would understand the concept that before.
the probation,
Put that in the motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
probation? Didn't you say that?
Not in the motion.
Okay,
yeah.
The motion is either to deny or accept.
okay.
and-
so
and I would
motion-
move that we deny.
Okay, so we got a motion,
I support it.
got a motion, and a second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. So we'll deny it and,
And did you understand what Frank said there? That the motion it's denied today. You can reapply and get your probation, the quarterly reports that we've asked to see. You can get those in and then reapply. Am I saying that correctly? Yeah.
So the quarterly reports for 24 and 25
Uh-huh.
are just for a year.
26.
So
I
you-
mean, it's every quarter, as long as you're on probation, you have to have reports for every quarter.
Do you still have a copy of that important document?
It may be in my email. I will have to search it, but I'm pretty
I'd
sure I can
be,
get a copy.
I'd get out of here and wherever the quickest search you can do, if it was me and my life was dependent on it, I wouldn't walk out this door until I had it pulled up on my email.
So, fine, yes, sir. So at that point, turn it in, reapply, and then the next hearing's in October 1st.
Uh-huh.
And then the probation, you said it was supposed to end in a year?
It's indefinite probation. It's on you
To
to
submit the records.
fulfill the requirements and then ask to
Be removed.
be removed, yes. It's 100% on you.
If I might, this begs a question in my mind that I don't know if now's a good time to answer it or not. Do we know who's on probation and if they're filing their reports or not? Can we get a report that tells us that so that we know if someone is missing and we can? I mean, I don't believe it is our responsibility to ask people to file their probationary
No.
reports, but I do believe it would be our responsibility to hold them accountable if they don't.
Yes.
okay. Thank you. So next up, we have Edmondson Family Funeral Home, Inc., branch application 4424042.
Good afternoon.
Tell us why you're here today.
Branch license. Aforementioned former writer funeral home.
Okay. I feel that everything was in order, I think, with the file. Were there any questions from the board?
Thank you, Ian. Yes, I have many questions, and it will take me a while to get through these. This is the board's chance to do due diligence. This is where we do due diligence. I've been appointed by 3 governors to sit on this board, and as Chairman Cook alluded to earlier, the reason that the governor appoints us is to several reasons, but the primary reason is to protect the citizens of our state and these communities and to hold funeral directors accountable for their actions. So this is what we're doing today. Some of my questions may seem prying and may not even seem important to you, but I can tell you that they're very important to us. As you've already heard, in case you weren't aware of it before, this issue with Griner is probably will turn out to be the largest pre-need theft fraud case that we've ever had here in the state of Indiana. And therefore, it is of paramount importance to us. So it's a situation where, we've got questions as to why someone, one, would want to involve themselves and associate in any manner with that as opposed to running as fast as possible. We said here with history, with case after case where we have observed, in fact, buildings that seem to replicate theft. I don't know, I could list 3 or 4 right off the top of my head where it just is a repeating pattern in a facility. I've never known of a facility that was successful or grew after a situation like this. So I'm scratching my head here saying, why would someone want to do this? And so I have questions. I have questions about why you want to do this. I'd like to hear your why. And then I want to ask you some very, very detailed questions about your relationship with Mr. Griner, about your relationship with Mr. Ellis, about details of your agreements and things like this. So first of all, just why are you wanting to do this?
Sure. Our goal is straightforward: to restore a locally owned funeral home back to serving the families of Terre Haute and Vigo County, and doing that with transparency, dignity, and full compliance.
And
And
you
we would-
already have a funeral home in Vigo County,
Yes,
in Terre Haute?
in West Terre Haute,
Okay.
yes. We understand the challenges that are presented with opening up this branch location and the association with that funeral home that was formerly known as Griner Funeral Home.
Mhm.
We will have no ties, relations with Mr. Griner nor his representatives.
Okay. So with that statement right there, have you purchased that facility?
No, we are leasing the building
Who are you leasing the building from?
from Griner Funeral Home, from
Oh,
Mr. Griner.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought you said there were no ties whatsoever to Mr. Griner.
As far as personal, yes, we have to lease the building. We did not purchase the building.
Okay, so you're very well tied to Mr. Griner through a lease agreement. What is the details of your lease agreement?
I
How
have-
long?
I have this right here. It is a
Okay.
1-year lease.
A 1-year lease?
Yes, that can be terminated after 3 months at any time
By either party?
by either party. And I have a copy of the triple net lease with me if you would like to see
Yeah, I
that.
would love to see it. Yeah. Why did you choose not to purchase the building?
I think there's too much risk involved, to be quite honest.
Mhm.
I wasn't willing to make that type of financial risk
Uh-huh.
at this point.
I thought the building went to sheriff's sale and that's what started this whole mess. Did I miss something there?
Yeah, you missed it. You missed it being taken off a sheriff's sale.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir. So you're asking us to grant a license for what could potentially be a 3-month business or a year business?
Correct.
How much money a month would Mr.
$3,500 a month is what it says here. Um, He's also responsible for monthly utilities, real estate, uh, personal sales and payroll taxes, among other things, liability insurance and things like that. How long have you known Gary Griner?
Approximately 35 years. We worked together at a former funeral home,
Oh, really? How long did you work together?
probably 12 years.
12 years. Have you ever worked for Gary since he owned the funeral home?
Absolutely not.
Has any of your family ever worked for Gary?
My wife used to work for him in a secretarial facility mode.
At the funeral home?
Yes.
How long did she work at the funeral home?
Approximately 3 years, I believe.
What years would that have been?
2011 to 2014, maybe.
Okay, so during the time that this, that has been proven that pre-need monies were taken. What is your relationship to Mr. Ellis, the attorney?
I have really no relationship and had really never met Mr. Ellis until we went into these negotiations.
Okay, he's not been your personal legal counsel or business legal counsel or?
No.
Okay, okay. Let me ask you about the pre-need letter that went out to pre-need holders from Griner Funeral Home dated April the 6th, or 7th rather, that steered, if I can use that term, steered pre-need holders who should have been, the letter was not written according to the law. First of all, it didn't come from the seller, it came from the seller's attorney, which there was no reason for that to happen, that it came from the attorney. It should have came from Mr. Griner himself, even if I'm sure they would say at the point he was medically incapacitated or whatever. How did it come about when a consumer by law was supposed to be given a choice? The choice is in the hands of the consumer where they wanted to go, and yet your funeral home was chosen to accept any of the pre-need contracts that had not been transferred to another funeral home. How did that come about?
I can't speak to that. That was written by Mr. Ellis.
You had no prior knowledge of that. He just randomly picked you, whom he never met one time before this. You know what? I think I'm going to pick this guy over here. He seems like a nice guy, sharp dresser, seems like a nice guy. I'm going to pick him.
He had told us that he was sending the files to us. I called the Indiana Funeral Directors Association and asked if we were able to do that, and they advised us absolutely not to do that. We contacted Mr. Ellis and said, do not bring those files to us.
Why? The question I'm asking is, why was your name on there to begin with?
I can't answer that. You'll have to ask Mr. Ellis that. I do not know. His, I believe, response was that he thought the people of the Wabash Valley would want to have their funeral services provided by Fitzpatrick Funeral Home.
He
Because
did. He thought that, Mr. Ellis.
Because at that time, we were in negotiations to draw up a lease agreement.
You were already at that point in negotiations?
We were.
Okay, well, that adds significant detail to that. If you were already in negotiations, then
But
that,
we had not signed a lease agreement, and I had no knowledge that he was going to send out that letter. We contacted him and told him, do not send the letter to us or send the files to us.
Section E of this lease agreement states that Edmondson and Griner shall equally split 50% each the net profits on a monthly basis.
Yes, that is part of the agreement, that we would have to pay him 50% of any net income.
He still owns the funeral home. He's still pulling the strings on the funeral home.
No, sir.
Oh. I don't need anything else at all. I need nothing. I don't need to talk anymore. I make a motion to deny this application based on the evidence that they've submitted. You're not tied to him in any way. You sat there, Mr. Edmondson. I don't know you from Adam. I don't think I've ever seen you. I would look at you and think this is an upstanding person right here. And yet you present an agreement to us. You sit there and tell us no association whatsoever. Did I hear that with my own ears? Did everybody else hear that? And then you present this agreement that states that you and Griner are splitting profits from the business.
That was part of the lease agreement. When you asked me that question, my understanding was if there was any personal ties. That was how I interpreted your question.
Oh, kind of like Mr. Rawls interpreted whether the option of the quarterly reports had to be. So I want to tell you something. I have sat here on this board for 12 years, and every single time we have a situation like this, there's somebody there to cut a deal where the former owner is still, we don't want Griner we don't want him to ever have the opportunity to speak to a family about funeral service again. He has given us all a black eye. Both of your eyes are black right now because of this guy. Is that lost on you?
No, sir.
He has hurt every funeral director's reputation in the state of Indiana and in the U.S. by doing this. Stealing from little old ladies who trusted him, while his attorney calls us a dog and pony show. When we're out there battling for the reputation and the trust, not just of local people, but the trust for our whole profession. Shame on you. Shame on you.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion? All in favor of the, oh, go ahead, sorry,
Sorry.
Pam. Sorry.
Can you repeat the motion?
Motion was to deny, to
Deny
deny
his
the
application
application.
for a branch license.
Okay,
Mhm.
I just want to be clear. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. I would like to take a 5-minute recess to use the restroom, and we'll adjourn and be back at 12:45. Call the meeting back to order after the brief recess. It's 12:50 a.m. or 12:50 p.m. Indianapolis time. We're now on to the verified complaints requesting restitution from the Pre-Need Consumer Protection Fund. Number 1, James Modisette for Mary Lou Modisette.
Yeah, I'll look.
Oh.
I reviewed that. Let me just take a moment here to pull those files up. Okay. So on Modisette, you know, he gave us his, if you noticed, as well. Um, but what I am seeing here is that, you know, there's no proof of payment, but there's handwritten notes from Mr. Griner stating it was paid in full, both he and his wife's. So he is requesting 2345, but the amount that was paid according to the original pre-need agreement was $2,045. And so it looks like I'm okay with that handwritten note saying it was paid in full. It looks like the amount should be 2,045 plus statutory interest.
Okay. Because we've accepted, especially considering the circumstances around this funeral home, usually we get a canceled check or something, but I'll accept the handwritten notes too. So, did everybody agree? So we got a motion for the amount of, that was 2,045.
Pam's got a question.
Okay, Pam.
This is just for my own education. So do we pay the individual? Do we pay a funeral home? How does this work?
This one is being requested by an individual. So they would have paid for the funeral for the person that had the pre-need contract. Sometimes a funeral home will apply for it too. It's who makes the,
Subsequent ones, they're applied for by the funeral home. Now, what we wouldn't do is pay twice. We wouldn't pay an individual and pay the funeral home. It's just, this guy paid for it and he's asking for his money back.
So we don't have any proof that he paid the funeral home, or the Griner Funeral Home, and then we don't have any proof that he paid the second funeral home?
Well, we do have some level of proof that he paid Griner Funeral Home. If you'll pull up the Cincinnati Equitable Insurance Company's life
Right.
insurance enrollment forms, and in the right-hand side, top right-hand,
Yeah, I
it says
see- yeah, I
paid in
see that.
full. So that's kind of what we're going off of, and it looks like there's a check number there, number 1677. That was for his. When we go down to hers, let's see here. You'll notice, in fact, the next three that we do were all requested by the funeral homes. But this case, the consumer requested it.
So is he just requesting for the one?
Yes,
Yeah, we can only pay
hers.
for who's dead. We can't
Okay,
pay for him who's
okay.
alive until he does die.
and then he's provided the death certificate.
Curious, was his name on the list that they had?
I didn't cross-reference it. I should have done that.
I'll go back and look real quick. Are they? Okay, thank you, Tracy. You're quicker at clicking. Well, you got the list. You're
So
cheating.
do I hear a motion then for the $2,045 plus statutory interest, I assume?
So move.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next one up is Nicholas French for Susan Thiel. Another one from Griner Funeral Home.
So I think there may be maybe a typo here. The total that was paid for both, you notice these are for two. Susan and her husband both died within like a week apart, and both were paid each $2,030. And so what he's requesting for each one is 2,300. I think maybe it should be 2,000.
I
It should
think one of them was for 23 and one of them was for 2030. So I think you're right. I think
Maybe
there was
just a
a typo
typo.
and I
Yeah.
agree with your 2030 number.
Yeah. So the thing that bothers me here, there's no signature on the form. So I would like to make a motion to pay $2,030 plus statutory interest upon receipt of a form that was signed by Mr. French. It's just an oversight on his part, I'm sure. So as soon as he sends in the signed one, then we could pay that for Susan. And I guess we probably need individual motions for those two.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we'll put 2 and 3 together, because he's also doing William Thiel, so we'll need separate motions. So we'll do Susan's first, so if you can
Okay.
provide the motion.
Okay, I did, motion to pay $2,030 plus statutory interest upon receipt of a signed, verified consumer restitution form by, Nick French.
Okay,
I second.
got a motion, and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, number 3, the Nicholas French for William Thiel.
Same exact motion.
Okay,
Same exact second.
okay. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next up, the Meeks Mortuary for Max Rawlings.
This one was a little hard to read. Uh, But everything seems to be in order. We've received the original from Wilson Shook. We've received the Meeks itemized statement, the death certificate, the cancel or the deposited checks, the proof of the checks and the deposit. So it should be for $1,465 plus statutory interest.
That's the motion.
Yes.
Okay.
$1,465. Hang on one second. Thank you. Well, let's go back here. I think you're right. Thank you, Pam, for bringing that to my attention. It should be $1,495. I looked down at the check. The original check is for $1,496.55. I don't know why they didn't, just say $1,496.55 plus statutory interest, but they asked for $1,495 plus statutory interest. So that's what we will award them. So let me amend my motion to $1,495 plus statutory interest. Thank you, Pam.
You have a question on the
Yeah.
form, and this, again, it's just for my own understanding. The amount of restitution and then the amount paid to the licensee.
Hmm.
Does that mean someone's already paid, or that's what they're asking us to pay them?
The amount paid to the licensee was what was originally set up in the trust. And then,
Yes, not the current licensee. That's what they paid to
Okay.
the original licensee.
Okay, okay,
Mhm,
okay, thank you.
mhm.
so we've got a motion on the floor. Was there any other discussion?
How did we get, how did we get to 1495?
I think he's got the second one.
That's what he requested.
We're looking at Max Rawlings first, and I think you're looking at Ginter.
Oh, I was looking at
Uh,
Ginter.
I was looking at Ginter. That's how it falls on our
Yeah.
thing. Okay,
I'm sorry, that 14.
pardon me. Let's,
So I think it's 15,000
Oh.
should be the corrected motion. So if you want to amend,
no, let's just start over here.
okay.
And let me
Because there's a
review.
check for 5,000 and 10,000.
So Max, you're on Max Rawlings?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, and everything was good with that, $15,000 plus statutory interest.
So you want to amend your motion then?
No, I want to make a new motion
Okay.
for the correct person.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for Max Rawlings, the requested amount of $15,000 plus statutory interest to be paid on that one.
Okay. Got a motion. I'll second it. Save you a moment. So any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now you can make the, it was 14.
Yeah, so the motion for Geraldine Ginter $14.95 plus statutory interest.
I just want to check one thing. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we're up next on our agenda to reassignment of Eller's Mortuary FB 416000019 pre-need files for purchases that failed to respond with the successor funeral home after proper notice. So what's our options here?
So I got a question. So on that, Tracy, you just looked and saw what funeral homes were in the county? Is that how you did that? So if you look at Ellers online, they only advertise in on their website, the main location. They don't advertise the second location, which confused me a little bit. And wouldn't Stouts actually have 3 locations in Howard County? They got one out on the west side. They got one in Greentown and the one in Rushville. And all those in Howard's Rushville and Howard County. Howard.
Yeah, you bring up a good question regarding like branch locations and funeral home license, licenses funeral homes versus licenses branches. So what you're going off of, Tracy, is funeral home licenses versus any funeral branch license, is that? Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Was there, hang on one second, I'm trying to. So let's go back here for just a second, because I'm kind of confused in this. The branch that was closed for the license that ended in 1/9, its physical address is 725 South Main Street in Kokomo. And then if you go back, one that you had on the list was Eller's Funeral Home ending in, hang on just a second here. Okay, I think we're all right with the 2 branches, but, what was the last question? Which ones did you have on there? Do you have, Stoughton, what's Stoughton Sons? Yeah, Rushville's in Howard County as well. They should have 3. And then, so there should be Shirley and Stout, there should be, Hassler, Stout. And then there should be Stout and Sons. Yeah, and, well, as far as that goes, doesn't, Sunset? Shouldn't Sunset be on there too? No, they've changed it to Sunset Memory Garden. So the Sunset's on there.
It's on there.
That's one of their locations. I think the only thing we need to do is add, Stout and Sons.
Do you want to make a motion to approve those and just add Stout and Sons?
If Tracy's okay with that. Okay, yep, add Stout and Sons and then divide them up amongst that list. Would be my motion.
Okay, got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Support?
A second from Tom. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, next one on the list, reassignment of Fraser Funeral Home, FH 104-00029, pre-need files for purchasers that failed to respond with the successor funeral home after proper notice. So we had Integrity Funeral Services and Cremation, Jackson Funeral Chapel, Jackson Funeral Service of Des Moines, Parker and Burns Funeral Home, Burisma Funeral Home, and Steinke Funeral Home. Is that correct for that area? Okay. Did I pronounce those right? My Southwestern
pretty well.
my Southwestern Indiana dialect didn't butcher any names from up that way.
Ask Dr. Boersma how he feels about it.
Oh, Boersma. I go to my eye doctor in 2 weeks too, so that
Oh, you're
would help.
fine. You're fine.
So do I hear a motion?
So move.
Got a second from Frank. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we have the reassignment of Craig and Glazebrook's Funeral Service, FH 11900008, pre-need files. In those, we have Simple Cremations, Williams and Blewett, and Lavinia, and Summers. Were there any additions or subtractions to that list?
Yeah, I'm not sure. How did you come up with that list, Tracy?
On our licensing database, I put in the county and I take what it pulls up. Apparently it doesn't pull up everybody all the time.
So that's 24 files.
So Glazy Brooks, what county, are they in Indianapolis? It's Marion County, right?
Oh, with that one, yeah, that's Marion County.
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't there be more
I
than?
wouldn't pull up all, you know. I looked on, County and map
Uh-huh.
to find some that are kind of close by.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to add more.
There's only 24 files and there's three of
Your
them.
way, and just doing it real close in cases like that. Yeah.
Because that would be 8 each one. Because
Yeah.
there's 24 files.
You're not talking many.
And if they're right in that area,
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Pam, a second. Any additional discussion? Seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now we're going to have a discussion of the International Conference of Funeral and Cemetery Service Board professional training session. Psychological evaluations as a condition of reinstatement for those that have been suspended. Oh, yeah, and she couldn't. Yeah, let's table that,
Yeah.
can we?
Good idea.
Okay, because I know she was making a push and she was at the conference, so
Let's
Well-
make Kathleen take one before the next board meeting.
I don't think, I wanted to also say, I don't think I'll be able to be at the next board meeting. I have to go to a conference.
So
from-
Kathleen may,
Yeah,
she's the vice. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm having a heart procedure, so
Oh, my.
Okay. Let's move that up.
I mean, I should be out of the hospital by then. I just don't know if I can be up.
You can remote.
We don't want any things like this one to cause you stress.
Just be screwed up.
Are you having that local or?
In Evansville, coming to Floyd.
Okay. I
Are
live
you- are
like
you from
5
Evan-
minutes from,
I'm from Vincent.
Oh, Vincennes?
I live 5 minutes from Gateway, so.
Oh, really? Okay.
Do we discuss dates in now or?
Pick some days. I'll look at my calendar, see when rooms are available. Shoot those.
I'm sorry for that, but I have to, my day job requires me to be at a conference in French Lick that day, so. It sounds like everybody's got a problem. That's a busy time of year. Not in a conference, though.
They try to have a board hearing every day on Thursday except the 22nd in October, just so you know.
Okay, so the final thing on our list then would be review of continuing education and sponsors and courses.
First thing I'm going to do is recuse myself on the ones for funeral director's life, so I will pass that over to Mr. Sproles.
Yeah, so I would just make a motion to approve the funeral director's life courses, 2 courses there.
Okay, we've got a motion. I'll second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, next one.
So I'm going to say on this, it's going to be different on this entire list. I would move that we approve them as listed.
No way.
Wow,
No way.
And it's an extensive list too.
I wasn't expecting that. Look at
People are getting
They're
better.
getting better. You know, we're setting the
They're
bar
getting the-
higher and they're rising to it.
They're getting the memo. So we got a motion to approve the list as written.
With support?
Got a second. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, any other new business to come before the board today? Obviously, we'll be updating our next meeting, so check accordingly. We will not be meeting on the 1st of October. It'll be later in October. But I appreciate it. Now, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.